What's going on, everybody? Patrick here, back at it again with another episode of the Main Stand, joined as always by the homies Josh and Mitch. Fellas, happy Wednesday. How we feeling? How we rocking? The sun is shining. It's getting a little warmer. It's almost the best 3 months to live in this state.
Yeah, it's pretty good vibes right now. Obviously, I'm still out in the Midwest, but it's actually not that bad. This week's been pretty warm out here. Liverpool are still on the quadruple. What is there not to be happy about at this point?
The Revs playing dog shit football.
Yeah, you guys are down bad, and we'll get into that, I guess, right now at the weekend, kind of the recap. Where are you guys standing with the Revs right now?
Listen, we're still fifth in the MLS's power rankings. All right, that's all. I'm holding on to that really hard right now.
Just an abysmal showing against Charlotte on the weekend.
Yeah, just down horrendous, man. I don't think we're even top five in the East right now, like in the standings.
Early in the year, though, we know how that goes.
I can fact check that for you real quick.
We're not.
The New England Revolution are in 10th.
Yeah.
With 1 win, 1 draw, and 2 losses.
We're down bad. But yeah, like Josh said, it's only 4 games left, only 4 games into the season. Like I always say, there's plenty of time for good teams to be good and bad teams to be bad, and the Revs are certainly a good team. So
it's a scary remark.
We'll get it together. We'll get it together. We're not going to be the Revs we were last year. I said that already, but we'll get it together.
No, it's definitely a different dynamic, and in 3 out of the 4 games that the Revs have played this year, we've actually seen 3 different formations, 3 different sides hit the pitch. So we're seeing a lot of rotation early on, and I don't know if that's due to the lack of games going into the season with the removal of the Cavalli fixtures and the quarters of the CONCACAF Champions League. I don't know if it's just a lot of travel early on in the year. But we'll see how it plays out. I trust Bruce. He's a proven winning manager in the MLS, and we'll ride it out and see how it goes.
Yeah. On the other end of the spectrum, Josh, Minnesota don't suck right now.
Yeah, we just totally switched spots from the end of last season. Minnesota are just riding a little wave. Another 1-0 victory over San Jose this weekend. 1-0 FC. We're one of the 5 teams remaining that's undefeated in the MLS. It's like the worst 8-point run I've ever seen in my life in terms of actual form and aesthetic of play. We're so bad. I don't know. It's a little weird with us, honestly. I feel like this team's still getting to know each other a little bit. A lot of new faces, obviously. Lacking defenders right now. We're having to put Hassani Dotson out at right back. I don't love that. The new guy, the guy that came back from Minnesota from the first year they were even in the MLS, Luis Amarilla, I'll pull up his graphic right now, is a stud. Dude has 2 goals in 2 games. Really like him up top in favor of Adrian Hanu from last year. We'll see how far this team goes with Adrian Heath. I think he's the one that'll ultimately kind of bring them down because his tactics are just so dinosaur stone-aged. Obviously, because he came from the EV, I have to mention it every single time. But we'll see where we are come the end of the season. I think they'll be competitive. They'll be a playoff team. Not really expecting too much else than that, but going to try to get to as many games as I can before I head out east.
Then you'll get here just in time to see more games.
Yeah, and I'm going to see the most important game, which is Minnesota at New England. Watch you guys get your ass kicked at home.
Listen, you go sit over with your Minnesotans, and we'll be over at the fort having a good time.
Yeah,
all right? Still beer on another teenager.
The fan section full of 12 people that are on the road.
Hey, we travel well. Sun Country, sponsor us.
Outside of that, the only other real stuff that happened this weekend, from a footballing standpoint, was we had the cup fixtures. And it's the FA Cup. It's early in the round, but that set up some pretty juicy fixtures in April that we'll chat a little bit more about. Those of you watching on YouTube, you see the graphic. Yeah, the FA Cup was fun. I think while we're talking on little weekend chat, I think you guys might have been a little lucky to get by Forest. I thought they played really, really well for that entire game. If they took their chances, that was a drastically different game. You guys scored like 2 minutes after they fluffed like golden opportunity to go ahead 1-0. So, I think Liverpool are a really good side, but I think these past couple of days against Arsenal specifically and against Forest, you've shown you've got a little bit of some cracks. All right, I'm not completely terrified of you. We'll beat you once in the giant stretch in April. I just don't know when.
You bring up a good point, Pat. I think Liverpool aren't imperious. They're not perfect, but what I will say is that I don't think we ever felt threatened in that game against Forest. Virgil van Dijk and Konate, I don't think broke a sweat in that match. Even the chances that were close, we felt pretty confident with Alisson back there. It was a good game. I think you have to tip your caps to Forest. I thought the fans were incredible, aside from the bad chants they were making, which it's a week in, week out thing with Liverpool. Aside from that, it was a pretty good match of football from a neutral point of view.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was fun. I was recovering from getting the shit kicked out of me by a hangover, and I was watching that game at a picnic table, waiting outside of a place in the Old Port to get lunch on my phone.
Jota continues his form of just like playing like shit and then going out and somehow scoring a goal, and he seems to do that a lot. Not have a really great game, but gets on the score sheet when it matters.
Yep.
It's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not at all.
I think it kind of carries on what Liverpool have been doing over the last few weeks, especially. We haven't been seeing a lot of goals per se. We haven't been seeing this high intensity counterattack. We've been seeing more control, more settling down the pace, and it's allowing us to play our game and take advantage of those opportunities when they do arise. And it's not as exhilarating in terms of what we're seeing on the pitch, but we're seeing a masterclass from Liverpool in passing and ball movement and control of a 90-minute game.
On that note, just a quick question for you guys. Just strictly curiosity. With you starting to play at this slower tempo and, maybe losing a little bit of that, that rock and roll football edge over these past couple of weeks that Liverpool have kind of made their name with, are you nervous at all that getting into that rhythm and developing this game might play into City's hands come those next couple of fixtures? Because, playing, you have to beat them, you have to do that rock and roll style of football that you guys are known for. And do you think that coming into that game, the guys can still get up for it to completely switch gears from the way that you've been playing these past couple of weeks? Or do you think that it might be a little bit trickier having, been playing the way you've been playing?
I think City is always like the matchup that you have your eyes on when it comes from the Liverpool perspective. And I don't think it'll be an issue. I think what we're doing right now is taking the time while we have it to play our game, settle in, develop a different play style that maybe wasn't getting us the consistent results we've needed all along. Establish ourselves, establish a rhythm, and then be able to go out and pull the trigger when it's needed. Because that fast-paced football that we've been playing with the whippy balls in, the long balls, the quick counterattacks, we haven't really seen a lot of that on a consistent basis. What we're seeing is more backtracking, passing around, using Virgil to start the attack, and then letting Matip open up play from the back. So I don't necessarily see it as an issue. I think it kind of plays into the story or the mind games of what Liverpool can do to set up success moving forward toward this end of the season and this cup run. I think it's necessary because we're seeing opponents from a wide spectrum of different play styles. So we have to be prepared on any given night to be able to establish our game and then push and kick that next gear up when it's needed without wasting the energy.
Yeah, I think there's also probably some context to the last two games too, and I know it's not like necessarily been rock and roll football lately. You have like the Milan result, the Brighton game, and all those are kind of snatch and grab fixtures a little bit. The Arsenal game, I mean, Arsenal are a good side lately, and I think they're tough on the counter, so I think you have to play a little bit more conservative against them. And Forest, ultimately, you make 7 changes to that starting 11, so you're obviously going to have different results in that one, especially starting... who started Joe Gomez out on the right, kind of struggled at the beginning, and Costas Tsimikas out on the left, who I thought did a fine job, but isn't Andy Robertson at the same time.
And we're going to be without Trent for a couple more weeks, too.
I don't think that's true, actually.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. So I think the way that was worded was he's out for a week, potentially more. I think it's very coincidental that Robertson gets COVID and Trent gets a hamstring injury, which is like the most common muscle injury of all time, right before England camp in a window where they're just playing friendlies. I think that could be a little bit of Jurgen.
Politics with Josh.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be that crazy for Jurgen to ask Trent to do that.
No, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, especially with, kind of the aura around the club right now with, Jurgen on his way out in the next few years. We have a side that's really starting to hit their prime that is having a great mix of both veteran talent that has been established and youngsters. Thank God the injury bug hasn't been this insurmountable thing this year. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities for those guys to not necessarily want to go to camp right now and focus on the club level, especially where England's kind of set in their.
Yeah, and it's also not, it's not like fucking Southgate and Trent
Scotland,
are like bros. I mean, I think Trent probably hates him, to be fair. And to Pat's point about just like Liverpool kind of squaring up with City, I'll make this quick. I think Liverpool are a bit like Paddy the Baddy in the UFC. Sometimes he quoted this, at his fight this weekend. Sometimes he has to take a nice punch to really wake up in a fight. And I think Liverpool can be like that quite often. Sometimes it takes a real close chance on our end to really open the game up and start attacking the other team, and I think that's generally how we play against City. Sometimes it takes a little bit to really get that wake-up call. So ultimately, I think when that game starts, first 10 minutes will probably be pretty nervy, balls back and forth in the middle third. I think when City gets their first chance, Liverpool's wingers really start to wake up and start to pressure that City defense.
Now Laporte's just going to lock Salah down like he did last year.
Yeah, like he locked him down in September when he put him on his ass.
Hey, all right. We're going to just forget about that, okay? Well, that was a draw, so it's fine. That was a draw.
Do we want to talk about the other side of Manchester, narrowing down on the managerial targets?
Let's do it. Let's do this damn thing.
So we're hearing that Ten Hag has officially been interviewed for the position, according to Fabrizio Romano. What do you guys make of that? Is he the right guy for the job? Poch rumors are obviously going to be out there, and I think there's 2 other names as well. There's speculation on who those are, but Ten Hag seems like probably the best fit at this point.
I think Ten Hag is a great coach.
Yes.
I think he's the best idea Man United have had, since hiring Sir Alex Ferguson for a manager. But that being said, like I've mentioned before, ultimately, I don't think Man United's problems are just their manager. Yeah. I think they have a group of guys that really don't give a shit, and I think they have a board and a group of directors and people behind the scenes at the club that also just don't give a shit. And I think that plays in pretty negatively to the club as a whole. I think Ten Hag is definitely a step in the right direction if they do end up getting him. And outside of that, he's a really, really good, like new to the scene, like up and coming manager. It is really funny though that, and this is just me being a City fan for 1 second. A lot of people on Twitter these rumors have been flying around, and I've been seeing a lot of people calling him a young manager. And I think it's pretty funny that a lot of these people clearly don't actually understand what they're talking about, because Ten Hag is older than Guardiola. He's 52.
I didn't know that.
Ten Hag is 52 years old.
He's a damn good looking 52-year-old, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, he's handsome as shit. I hope I look half as good as he does.
He's done work at Bayern before, hasn't he?
I think he was Pep's assistant coach at Bayern, if I'm not mistaken. He's worked under Guardiola, and I think it was at Bayern.
Yeah, I think he was.
Good football brain. If he goes to Man United, I'm gonna have to call him an overrated bald fraud, and he's the worst manager on the planet. But I rate him really highly, and I think it's really good business if Man United bring him in. It's definitely a step in the right direction, and it would be a statement appointment saying that we're here to play. So yeah,
kind of felt like that under Mourinho. I feel like a little bit.
Yeah, but Mourinho was clearly kind of past it. He had taken a sabbatical after completely imploding with Chelsea.
The second time.
Mourinho stuff. So Ten Hag has done nothing but really good work with this Ajax side, and the next logical step up is like one of the big boys in English football. Not to say Ajax isn't prestigious, because they have more history than 80% of clubs out there, but in modern football, Man United taking a job like that at a club of that stature is definitely a step up, and I think that it's a different appointment in appointing someone like Ten Hag versus someone like Mourinho.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Pat. And I think the one thing that we don't really mention enough, like on this podcast specifically, we've talked about like the club's politics, everything really around Man United. Haven't really talked about recruitment that much. I think that's going to be a real strength of Man United if they do get Ten Hag. I think the back room of him and Ragnick in the back, kind of coming up with a plan of who is the style of player they want to sign in the future, from behavior, attitude, talent, and they can really kind of shape this team from the ground up. I think that's kind of where Man United become a little bit scary, to have two really good minds who have been at clubs that are kind of mid-sized and had a lot of wiggle room of who they sign and what they're building. I think that's kind of where Man United get a little bit scary this summer.
Agree. Yeah, I think bringing in Ten Hag, Ralph behind him, I think Man United really do have a chance to reestablish themselves next season, especially if they happen to miss out on European football,
which is likely. Looks like at this point. I think
they might get like Conference League or Europa League. Yeah. I don't think they're going to outside of the top 8, but
fair enough. I assumed Champions League. That was my bad.
European football you care about, I guess.
Exactly. I think Poch, if he got hired, I think that would be kind of a puppet job. He seems kind of like someone that the board could probably control a little bit.
PSG.
Exactly. Any final thoughts on Ten Hag to United? Seems pretty straightforward to me.
I wanted him at City after Pep, but it doesn't feel like Pep's leaving in the next few years, and Ten Hag's ready to move. So,
yeah, it just doesn't line up. Usually the way it works in football. Speaking of lining things up and affording new personnel, came out today, according again to Fabrizio Romano, Declan Rice, West Ham values him at $150 million. Mitch, what do you think of that move, or that value?
That valuation is the English curse. Do I rate Declan Rice? Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a phenomenal midfielder. But not for 150 million. Not even remotely close. I'd probably put it closer to 85, 90 if he wasn't English. If he wasn't English, that is how much money somebody could reasonably say, okay, we'll bring you on. But I think it comes at a time where he's on good form. He is reaching that contract talk, and he's hitting his stride as a professional football player in the Premier League. So I think all those pieces together create this number, but if I was a manager or a club looking to bring him in, I wouldn't touch him for 150 million. That's just me.
You know who I think well?
United.
I think the Magpies up in Newcastle have a pretty good shot about it.
That would be a pretty insane marquee signing this summer. Declan Rice for 150 million.
Yeah,
that would be huge. It would bolster their midfield. And I feel like, I mean, could we see that price tag also kind of taking advantage of the financial situations around the league at this time? Because Declan Rice isn't going to leave the Premier League.
No.
If he's switching clubs, he's not leaving the Premier League. So we take a look at all that's going on at Chelsea. We take a look at the emergence of Newcastle. We take a look at the position of West Ham and the clear and obvious, gap at the top of the league. Could that valuation be saying, hey, let's make some money? We're in that top 6 mix right now, so let's make some money and bring in somebody who can transform our side too.
150 million could give West Ham a lot of depth to challenge for Europa League and stuff like that, which it feels like something they care about this season too. So
yeah, they've always been kind of like a reinvesting club. They're not going to hold on to someone that expensive. Someone's actually willing to pay 150, which looks like Newcastle probably would be. My other intriguing question here is, and Pat, you can answer this one first. Where do you see Declan Rice playing at his next team? In a 6 or a central mid? Do you play him in a double pivot somewhere? I guess it kind of depends on what team he goes to.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's always looked the most comfortable in a 2. He's never been a lone 6 at West Ham. He's always had someone next to him.
Has he played that for England at all, lone 6?
No, I don't think England play with a lone 6. I think they play that Christmas tree with two 8s or defensive-minded 8s. But I think Declan Rice's best position is on the right of a midfield 2.
Okay.
So
he has gotten really better going forward this year.
Yeah. I think giving him the license to roam, but also giving him that defensive responsibility is good. Him having a partner means if he's feeling himself, he can step forward. He's got decent passing on the ground. He's good at breaking lines, and he can kind of carry the ball. So having a partner who can cover for him when he decides to step out, and vice versa, him having the defensive know-how to cover for a defender or a partner in the midfield when they step in, I think really complements Declan Rice's strengths a lot. And getting him in that midfield side, look at Newcastle, for example. They play a 4-4-2. They play a midfield 2. Him next to a player like Shelvey, he can cover for the fact that Shelvey has no fucking legs, but can still put a ball on your foot from 60 yards. And he's got that veteran mentality. And then he can also like curse people because he's fucking Lord Voldemort. But in all seriousness, I think him and Shelvey would be like a decent midfield pairing. And it doesn't take away from the fact that Joelinton has been good this year, but Rice is certainly a step up from Joelinton.
Have Bruno G playing right in front of him. That'd be a pretty nice midfield trio.
You start playing like a 4-2-3-1.
Yep.
You got Gamero. You got Max, or not Gamero. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah, whatever. That guy, the Brazilian that they signed, who's an attacking midfielder. You got him in front of the midfield back 2, and then you've got like Saint Maximin and another winger.
Chris
and
Wood.
Striker again. Or you play the guy they signed from Arsenal.
Willock.
Yeah, you got him. That's a decent front 5.
Yeah. Did you mention Chris Wood? I mean, Chris Wood, put a ball in the box anywhere that man finds it.
Exactly. So they got options. And I think Declan Rice definitely will find his feet.
United have to be eyeing this, and especially because they play the double pivot.
Oh my God, yeah. Anything's a step up from Fred and McTominay too. That's what I was thinking. Is I think it'll be like maybe Newcastle and Man United fighting for Rice this summer, because United have desperately needed a class defensive midfielder, and missing out on Camavinga last summer. Feels like Pogba's going. Fred and McTominay are fucking ass. They need someone back there.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Declan Rice. I mean, I guess we'll find out this summer where he's going to go. I just feel like a double pivot's such an ancient way of playing. I feel like the lone six, like really good teams play that lone six. I could probably see him playing both, honestly, if, we'll see how it
think
evolves,
he
I guess.
could do it for sure. I think he's got the positional know-how to do that. He's got the size to do that too. It's just that feels like a position that you really need to be like a class sweeper in order to do that.
That's fair.
We've been blessed to see, two really good ones do it for our teams respectively over the past couple of years. So, that position is definitely what the good teams play, what the modern teams play, and is, what you see these expansive forward-thinking teams often play. I don't know if Newcastle or Man United are necessarily that right off the bat. I think Man United are certainly an attacking team, but are they necessarily a team that's like super expansive and possession heavy and really utilizing their fullbacks? And I don't know if that's them just yet. It really depends on what Ten Hag does if and when he comes into that side and what he wants to make for changes too.
Yeah. Any other transfer news? The one I can think of off the top of my head is Frank Kessie confirmed going to Barcelona in the summer.
I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I think so as well.
He's been playing well, and I think just the style of play that we've seen out of Frank Kessie fits the moves that Barca have made. I think he adds a little bit of balance to that midfield, and we'll see how it plays out. But Barca's kind of turned the ship around, huh?
Oh my God, yeah. I honestly absolutely love to see it. Josh bantered me off for saying I thought Xavi was going to be a good appointment, and now look at him.
We'll see. It's been 10 games. Arsenal won 10 games in a row too. It doesn't really make a difference.
They just
Arsenal beat the brakes off of Man City in their first 10 games under Arteta, though. That's the thing.
Oh, fair.
And that game against Real Madrid was something else. It looked like Real Madrid's B team if they were run through with injuries and they had to play like the B team and then put that out, and then Barcelona looked like prime Barcelona. They did whatever they wanted for 90 minutes, and they played the fuck out of the Bernabeu.
Yeah, roll back the years.
Played them out of the building. And I called it right at the start of the game with Real Madrid playing in black kits at home for the first time ever. They rolled up to their own funeral.
Yeah, they got murdered.
Yeah, I mean, outfits can dictate the outcome of a game, 100%.
Josh, you as a betting man should know this.
I did well last week. I went I think 6 for 11. We're up 20 units on the season. That's all I'm gonna say.
But the color of the Gatorade dictates the Super Bowl. That's what I'm talking about. Like, these things do matter. You're saying it like it doesn't
I don't know
matter.
if that got released however many days before we did the podcast.
No, it didn't. I think that was like within 24 hours of kickoff they decided to do that.
Which is crazy, but that was a weird one. The other two, just before we switch kind of topics here, the only other two transfer topics I have, Dybala leaving Juve on a free, and Origi looks like he might be going to AC Milan, which is going to be awesome if he is AC Milan's starting striker in Serie A next season.
Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Also, word is Taki is out as well.
Yeah, likely
this summer. So I mean, football without Origi is nothing. So good on him for if the deal is done, or if kind of like the terms have been agreed to at this point. I'm not sure where it stands, unless it's just rumors at this point. But I mean, we've been on this Origi roller coaster for 3 years now. Of is he leaving? Is he not leaving? What are we doing here? He's gonna leave in the summer? No, he's not. He's gonna stay. And we've had these iconic moments within that, so it does hurt a little bit. But No, we'll see Origi in the
He's still hella young. He's like 25.
in the European competitions. I know, it's crazy.
You said Dybala on a free?
Yeah.
I'm ringing Pep. I'm calling him right now.
Would you take Dybala at City, Pat?
Absolutely.
Where are you playing him? You have 6 attacking midfielders already.
He's a center forward, bro. The false. If we don't land Holland, give me him. Oh my God, that'd be sick. You know what Pep would do with a player like that?
Pat reminds me of that kid in the taxi with Pep. He's like, Messi's your friend, right? You should give him a call and tell him to come.
No, Messi's a
play
rat
with us.
PSG over City this summer. Greatest of all time, but he's a rat.
Just give your mate a call and tell him to come in.
We should have done.
That's great.
That's what rung him up. Said, don't go to PSG. Come to City. Like I said, greatest of all time, but he picked PSG over City. He's a fucking rat.
You heard it here first on the main stand. What Pat thinks of Lionel Messi.
Love him to death. Fuck him.
We already kind of talked about Liverpool City. Obviously, they drew each other in the FA Cup semifinal. That game is also being played at the Etihad. So 2 games at the Etihad, potential for a Champions League final against each other as well.
They announced they're playing it at the Etihad instead of Wembley because of the no trains thing.
Oh,
it's at Wembley.
You are right, Pat. I don't know where I got that from.
It might. Well, it's because they're talking about changing the venue because there's no trains to Wembley that day.
Yeah, I thought they were talking about Old Trafford.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. A neutral ground, playing it in Old Trafford. Okay. But which is hysterical. That's so fucking funny that 2 of Man United's biggest rivals will be playing a cup semifinal game at their home stadium if that gets okayed. That's so fucking funny.
Probably a lot of green and yellow scarves around Old Trafford on that day.
Just send it to the London, okay?
Well, that's the issue is there's no trains
into London.
London from Liverpool, from wherever Merseyside. I don't know the fucking name of the town. Sorry. From there or from Manchester the day of the FA Cup semifinal, and gas is out the ass expensive. So
it's pronounced petrol.
There's an uproar.
This is true.
And I agree. I think that's fucked up.
That petrol is called gas in America?
Real quick, I do want to talk about this stretch of fiction for these 2 sides because it feels like the first 2 weeks of April are going to define both of these teams' seasons.
Absolutely.
And it's dope that we get to see this happen. Feels a lot like 2010, 2011, Barcelona, Real Madrid, minus the head games, but they drew each other in the Champions League, and they had El Clasico in the league, and that was then a league-winning El Clasico victory for Barcelona, plus ultimately beating them in the Champions League. But that's what this tie feels like right now, except it's the FA Cup and the league sandwiched in between the fucking Champions League. But that's what is to me is so insane about this is both of our hopes for silverware are the first 2 weeks of April going to be decided, because if you win that game, I don't see City catching up. I don't see you dropping any more points the remainder of the season, and you go on to win the league. If we win that game, I see City using that as a huge momentum boost, and then it opens up a 4-point gap at the top of the table, which means we can lose one more game and still have a 1-point cushion. And then the FA Cup, if we beat you in the FA Cup or you beat us in the FA Cup, you beat us in the FA Cup, and that's fucking the quadruple train is rolling full steam ahead, baby boy. And if we beat you, it's like, oh, fuck your quadruple. We can still win a couple of trophies. For City, it feels like there's a lot more riding on these 2 weeks because Atletico are a tough ask. I got what I wanted, though. I did say I wanted a good team in the quarterfinals, and I got what I wanted. I think City beat them over 2 legs. I'll get into that a little bit more in the next section here, but I think they do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a really dope 2 weeks of football. But don't fucking talk to me until after it's all done, because I'm going to be a puddle of emotion.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
I get to go over to Pat's and watch 2 games in a week and a half. Well, not even a week and a half, 8 days. 2 games in 8 days.
I was listening to Mark Goldbridge earlier, and he hit it.
Sorry,
he hit it nail on the head with a lot of teams have really good seasons. September through March through April, but really like the greatest teams of all time are defined kind of in this 10-week period that's the run-in. And a lot of teams have been really close to trebles or doubles, really big seasons, but ultimately only a handful are actually there. So we're kind of both there right now and experiencing those highs and emotions, but at the end of the day, probably only one of our teams is going to go down as like this season was theirs. Because I don't think Liverpool and City are exclusively going to win like the trophies that are remaining. I think they'll probably split them, or you might see like a Chelsea, Real Madrid win, either the FA Cup or Champions League, something like that.
After seeing Barcelona play Real Madrid in the Champions League, I don't feel confident in them at all anymore. I rescind my statement from last week. I'm fucking City are favorites to win the UCL in my book now. Fuck it.
Yeah, after last week, it's not a bad show.
Fucking nightmare. I'm fucking nope. I'm out on them.
They were without Benzema, to be fair.
Yeah, it's one fucking player. Benzema doesn't stop conceding 4 goals.
No, but he's been pretty important this year.
Oh yeah, but maybe it's 4-2 if Benzema's in the side.
I get what you're saying. It doesn't really affect the defense, but
yeah. Either way. All jokes aside, it's going to be a really, really fun 2 weeks. It's going to be a really testing 2 weeks for the friendships on the main stand.
We've done a pretty good job, like not getting not too much banter when it gets a little tough. We haven't really gone through any tough periods this season, to be fair.
No, this
gonna be tough on someone unless we split the games. Like,
I mean, we've all been eyeballing this since the schedule came out. And to add the extra layer to the onion that is having to face City in the semifinals of the FA Cup, and both of those games happening within a week of each other is insane to me.
Do you guys think Klopp starts your backup keeper in the FA Cup game?
No, because he didn't against Nottingham.
No.
Yeah.
No,
I want to say Pep starts Ederson in that game, but like he's pretty adamant about giving Stefan his cup time. So
yeah,
that's the game I can.
That's one of those things that sets the mood for the run-in, though.
Well, I guess we'll have to see, but Pep's been pretty adamant about giving Stefan his cup time.
Allison was given the FA Cup. And Kelleher was given the Soda Cup. Klopp came out and said we're riding with Kelleher. We're riding with him. It's his cup for the Carabao Cup. And then in an interview last week, Jurgen said it's Ali's tournament. When he was asked about it leading up to the Nottingham Forest game. So I don't see a change there. I don't even know how you rotate aside with these 3 fixtures happening. We're playing 3 games in 6 days, both of us. We got City, Benfica, City in a span of 6 days.
We got Liverpool
at 3 different competitions. 3 different competitions. So
champagne problems, baby.
I feel like I mean we're a couple weeks away from this, obviously. We're going to have more stuff come up for sure. There's going to be more drama leading up to it with the international break. I'm sure somebody's going to get injured somewhere.
Not any good City players. None of them got fucking called up. Thank Lord.
But it feels big. Like this feels like the biggest week that either of our clubs have experienced in the last 3 years. Like there was
that run in 17-18, that like season defining run when City were on that 100-point season.
Didn't I say the last 3 years?
Champions League, but
said the last 3 years. It was a couple of years before that. I'm saying with everything that went on with COVID, that
was 4 years ago. I'm fucking stupid. I had to do some math.
But no, like it just both clubs are operating at full capacity right now. We're both in 3 competitions. We get to face each other in 2 of those competitions with a month left in the season. and it brings that level up a little bit more. It feels like it feels bigger than what we've been able to see. It adds an extra layer to, like I said earlier, layer to that onion where this means more. This feels like the culmination of everything that's happened over the last few years.
That Liverpool marketing campaign really got to you, huh, Mitch?
What?
This means
this
more.
means more. Oh fuck, dude.
They really played you on that one.
Pay the man. God damn it.
That's classic. If you're familiar with like the Liverpool "This Means More" campaign, that's a really funny deep cut.
I didn't even think of that.
We touched on it a little bit already. But the Champions League draw was obviously the day after we released last week. Some tasty matches in this one. Chelsea, Real Madrid rematch from last year. Man City, Atletico, Liverpool, and Benfica, and Villarreal, Bayern. How do you feel, Pat, about drawing Atleti, aside from what you already said?
I feel good about it. I respect to Atletico Madrid. They're an unbelievable side, and I'm not taking anything away from that, and I'm not here to discredit how good of a team they are. But I think ultimately, over two legs, we are a better side. I don't see them scoring a ton of goals, and despite our difficulties breaking down low blocks, I've also not been unbelievably impressed with Atleti on the counter. I think with a fit Ruben Dias, a locked-in City, and a side that knows that the quarterfinals aren't cursed anymore. We beat a good team in the quarterfinals last year. There's no reason we can't go and go out and do it again. I feel good about this City side. I think we can do it. I think they will do it. And I think that's, if anything comes from that week of those 2 weeks of hell that I will be going through, it's that I think we're going to at least be in the semifinals of a Champions League after it's all said and done.
Yeah, and I think me and Mitch can probably say the same thing against Benfica.
Yeah, it definitely it feel like when you're looking at it on paper, it feels like we got the easy one, but I don't know. I think Benfica have a lot less to like expect, so they're gonna go out and give it their all. It's going to be a tough two-leg matchup.
They're a defensive team, which I think we're gonna have to break them down.
Right, and I think that also plays into the style of what Liverpool has been doing lately, and it is breaking clubs down. It is controlling the pace of the game. It is taking advantage of those moments when they arise, and I don't see it being like 3-0, 4-0 games. I don't see it being big, heavy hitting stuff. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be slow, and we just have to go out and do our thing, and we'll be in the semis again.
Definitely a Thiago and Bobby kind of match. I think you got to have some tactics going into that one, how you're going to break them down, break the lines. But it wouldn't be the first time we've run through Otamendi and Vertonghen at the back. I did talk to Roman. That was a funny joke, by the way. No laughs on that one. I told Roman that
two-time Premier League champion Otamendi, the Premier League Team of the Year 2017, 2018, Otamendi. Put some respect on El General's name, Josh.
Pat's so stuck in the past.
A 38-year-old or however old he is, Otamendi, and Jan Vertonghen is a very unintimidating defensive partnership.
Respect, Ricker, respect.
I did talk to Roman. I told him that Liverpool deserve a break after going through Atleti, both Milans and Porto, and he did say that was disrespectful to call Benfica a break. That's Roman's input on this week's podcast.
I dig it.
Shout out you, Roman. That's funny. Shout out Roman.
Chelsea, Real Madrid. That one's a tasty match.
I want them to beat you guys so bad.
Not gonna happen.
Of course you do. Like what? Like I'd be concerned if you didn't.
Yeah. True.
I'd be coming over there with like chicken soup and a fucking thermometer. Make sure you're okay.
Bayern, Villarreal. That's one's pretty straightforward. I think Bayern are going to wax them probably. And that's who Liverpool will play because now we have that setup where we kind of know our road to the final.
Yeah.
We all thought Juve would beat Villarreal pretty handily though, and they gave Juve a tough time though. So
Bayern's different though.
Right, but I mean, I wouldn't just count them out. I mean, Bayern lost to Salzburg in the first leg of their game or of their previous round, so really good side. They had some injuries in the first leg, admittedly, but
they also come out.
Villarreal aren't terrible. They're the counter-attacking side. They beat the odds once. Maybe they can do it again. They're my dark horse.
I think Bayern were still without Neuer as well, but that's a pretty big injury. I digress. Chelsea Madrid. Who do you guys have in that one?
I don't know.
I go Madrid.
I like my heart says Madrid, but after the couple of weeks they've had, it's just it feels like Chelsea aren't still out of it, because I feel like they're defensively going to be able to hold Real Madrid more so than Real Madrid will be able to hold them defensively. So
I think Madrid in the Champions League are different gravy, despite
they are
banter from earlier. I think they get by Chelsea, and then the semis is maybe as far as they go if they play like they did against Barca.
Really shaping up for that Liverpool City Champions League final, which is like the bubbling point of football.
That's the culmination. That's the high point. That is the apex of what this rivalry has become over the last few years for sure.
That is
spot
again
on,
my worst fucking nightmare.
That would be incredible.
That would be the worst fucking 100-ish minutes of my life, man. Mitch, I wouldn't look at you.
I would just talk like I normally do, and
I would not be able to watch the game with you. No fucking chance. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Wait, Champions League final. Josh will be in Maine for that.
I
right?
should be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the exact date is, but I imagine I will be. Yeah.
All right. If City and Liverpool make it, I have to watch it with the whole main stand. I can't just watch it with you, Mitch.
What day is the Champions League? We should stream it anyway on like YouTube, like our live reaction. UCL final. What date we working with here? Watch it's like a day I'm going to be traveling. May 28th.
May 28th.
We're golden.
May 28th. We're in there like swimwear.
I'll get hammered in fucking the Old Port again. I'll spill an entire Heineken under my table, and I'll get sad because if we play Liverpool, we'll lose.
I was honestly pretty sad with that Tottenham game. That Tottenham final was just
Are you one of those people on Twitter, Mitch?
It was a bad game,
bro.
Oh,
fuck off. That was one of the best nights of your life because Liverpool lifted number 6.
We won, but it was a bad. Like if you look at it from a neutral point of view, it was a bad game.
Who cares?
Yeah, I was a snore. That was just fucking.
It was like you get to the Champions League final and it's that,
dude. Like, you're one of those people on Twitter that think that.
I'm not saying it on Twitter. I'm saying it right here.
Oh, you know what I mean, though. That's insane, man.
I still celebrated. I still enjoyed the win. But if you look at it as a football match, it was bad.
That's like saying our Premier League title shit because there wasn't fans in the ground.
Oh my fucking God! It was. We didn't get a parade. We didn't get to do the fun things with the fans.
It was shit.
Like, it's not like we were in Liverpool fucking in the parade mixing it up on the strand.
It doesn't matter if I'm not there. Everybody else who lives there and has supported you think we're the only Liverpool fans in the fucking world?
That is an insane take. Dude, it does not matter about the UCL. It's the whole run into the UCL that matters. And so we lifted number 6 in front of a ton of legends. A great time for the club. We had the parade at the UCL final. Who cares what was a shit game? That is an insane take.
That is not.
Dog shit.
Give it to us down in the comments whose side you're on here. We are a Liverpool house divided.
That is a bottom red take. That is a 13-year-old Twitter take.
I'm fucking crying.
Good thing my Twitter is probably 13 years old at this point, and I have like 1,000 tweets.
That isn't. I mean, Pat, imagine if City win their first Champions League title and you just play a shit game and it's like, oh well, Fuck that Champions League title we won a couple years ago. It's a shit game.
Josh, I'm gonna keep it a grip. If City win the Champions League, I'll be just like you. I'm gonna get blackout drunk and get a tattoo.
Exactly.
So. I'm not taking away from any of that. I'm looking at. I didn't say fuck that final. Like fuck the cup. Like I wish we didn't win it. Like that's not what I'm saying.
That was one of the first things you said when it got brought up. So that's the first thing you remember is, oh, that wasn't a good game.
There was a really bad game.
It was.
Terrible.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, it doesn't take away. It's
literally
lifted number 6. We went to PSG.
God.
Belgrade to Germany. Then we went to the Allianz and Liverpool scored 3.
I'm just saying, if it's Liverpool City this year, it better be better than what we got from that final in 2019.
1-0 City win. Joel Matip own goal in the 23rd minute.
Jesus fucking Christ! Watch your mouth.
Also, we got Origi vibes in that game. Origi vibes.
Virgil van Dijk own goal in the 92nd minute.
When was the last time Virgil let in an own goal?
Wasn't he technically one of the goals in the 7-2 against Villa, or am I tripping?
He might have been. There was definitely an own goal in that game. That was probably the most heated the main stand's been in a while, that little 2-minute stretch.
I don't think that was heated. I was just laughing really hard. That was funny as.
I was legitimately mad. I was heated. I can't get over that.
I just pulled up a. I just did a quick Google search. Obviously this has changed, but back in 2019, somebody posted this 20-second video titled "All Own Goals Virgil van Dijk has conceded in the Premier League," and it's just a video, a 20-second video. It just says the word "none."
It'd be funny if it was just a GIF that was like someone waiting for the video to start playing. Just
No.
Oh, Van Dijk scored an own goal. City beat Southampton
back in 2018.
Oh my! Of course you remember that.
At the end of 17-18, Pat's all horny about the 17-18 season today.
Now he's gonna win us a Champions League. Thanks, Big Verge.
Digressing from the Champions League, something I'll let you guys run with here. U.S. men's national team goes to Mexico City tomorrow night.
Cool.
Today, if you're listening to it, what do you guys think?
Well, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It feels very nervy, very, very nervy.
Oh, we're gonna fucking lose.
Panama's on Mexico's ass too. Only 4 points.
We're gonna fucking lose. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this game tonight. Well, tomorrow technically, but tonight on night of release. Yeah, I feel bad. You
want to hear an incredible but incredible fact? We're going to go the entire qualifying round without seeing Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Sergiño Dest on the same pitch. None of them have played all together this entire qualifying run.
That actually is pretty insane.
We still have McKennie out with injury. Dest is now out with injury.
Yeah, no McKennie, no Dest. Reyna probably won't play.
No Turner.
90. No Turner. We're losing. We're going to lose the game.
I'm not going as far as saying we're losing. I think the big difference for the U.S. this year in terms of comparing it to the last qualification run that we don't want to ever think about is we don't have the false confidence because now this team knows how they can play. It's not running around with 11 youngsters who haven't gelled yet, who haven't figured out how to play as one. I think we're a little bit more settled, a little bit more mature. Regardless of the injury, like take those out of the situation, I still think Greg is going to put out a team that is going to fight because I don't think any of these guys want to go through what they did 4 years ago.
Handful of youngsters beat Mexico this summer. Not sure what competition that was, but I know they did it, and I watched it.
I was witnessing that on my screen as well. I just, even with McKennie out, I don't think it's time to lay down and die. I don't think the U.S. is going to just let the injuries run through the team. Say, yeah, no, you're not going to Qatar. I just don't see that happening.
Well, I think we need 3 points out of these next 9 games to secure qualification, if I'm not mistaken. I just don't think we're getting it against Mexico. That's all there is to it. I don't think we're going to
Azteca too.
I don't think we're going to Azteca and coming out with 3 points.
I think we're like 0-12-14 at the Azteca.
Yeah, it feels like a fucking trillion years since we've won there. There's no shot we're coming out of there with 3 points. I'm just being realistic. If they win, dick on hard, but they're not going to.
Vibes don't seem to be too good in the camp either. We got Pulisic telling social media interns to take photos down.
He looked like he was a fucking 12-year-old walking around Disney World, dude. The first thought that came to my head was that is the kid who plays center field in Sandlot. Like, he looked goofy. But I like to attack some like probably 22-year-old intern from fucking Walla Walla, Washington for posting a walk-up picture. Like, you've looked dumber on the pitch. You've had your moments where you've been more embarrassed, making a dumb face, making whatever it is. What, like, you're wearing a fucking denim jacket and a denim hat. What's the issue here? Like, it was literally just a fucking picture from his elbows to his head, and that was it. Like, we're just arriving. We're like, you've gone to how many stadiums and had your picture taken when you're walking in? How many times? I just think it's a dumb thing to get mad at, and like, just to go down in the take the effort to go down in the comments and say, how's about contacting me before you post something like this?
It's a funny look. He doesn't seem like one of those guys, and the fact that they took it down actually it shows that it was serious. That's unreal. Especially something as like prominent as the U.S. men's national team Instagram. That's not like a small club or anything like that.
Prestigious.
I'd love to get some U.S. Men's national team alumni's take on that.
I'm just gonna get a T-shirt that says "Contact me" before posting this, and I'll wear it under every shirt I own.
With that exact picture.
Yes.
I think that about wraps it up for the week, unless you guys have anything else.
Nah.
No. International breaks at this point. The season suck, and I'm ready for Watford on the 2nd.
Bring on Burnley away, baby.
If you don't already subscribe to the YouTube, make sure you do that. Like, share the thing. Share it on all the social media, all the stuff we got going on. Engage with the Instagram. Episodes weekly.
On the screen there.
What?
I said listen to Christian Pulisic on the screen there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, listen to what he's saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any parting notes?
Subscribe to the thing. Ding the bell for the thing.
Episode next week, back on Friday. Thursday,
yes.
This week for international break. More content coming out, too. Hopefully more guests in the future.
Stay tuned. We got some cool stuff in the works, so keep your eyes peeled.
Sir, deuces.
Peace.